They cut the check, it cashes, we'll talk.
The next one is a house that I don't think Alex is gonna go in, so I probably will go in this one myself. Oh, looks like we found our first Scareactor, although he doesn't really look too scary. Hello everyone from Universal Orlando Resort. I wanted to come out here today because so much has changed versus the last time we were here, specifically for Halloween Horror Nights. New props have popped up. A whole bunch of set dressing is going on. The tribute store is currently being worked on as well. So we wanted to come out today and check out some of the progress on that. Also, there's been a lot of news over the last 24 hours for Halloween Horror Nights. All 10 houses have been announced, all 5 Scarezones, both stage shows have been announced as well. So we're gonna sit down and talk a little bit about this year's event. We're gonna show you where some of the houses are expected to be, and just go and get a general update as to what's going on this year for Halloween Horror Nights inside the parks. And then I think we're gonna head over to Islands of Adventure because I still haven't seen any of the merchandise for this year's event. So come along with us as we give you an update on Halloween Horror Nights 31. So Halloween Horror Nights is starting in just over 2 weeks from today, and we're still waiting on the big medallion to hang underneath that Universal Studios Florida sign. Was kind of hoping it was gonna be out today, but I think it's still a little bit too early. It's crazy to think that Halloween is just around the corner. In just a couple of weeks, this entire street is gonna be flooded with guests waiting to get inside those gates. So we have scanned our ticket and we are making our way into Universal Studios. We have Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem over here on the left, and I'm already seeing a whole bunch of pumpkins that are out and about for HHN. So right when you walk into the park, if you head straight, you're gonna hit your first Scarezone, and this one has officially been dubbed Horrors of Halloween. On the speculation map, it was rumored to be traditional Halloween, but the Pumpkin Lord is going to be over here in this area. So you can expect probably some fire, some pumpkins obviously that are hanging up there, and then a whole bunch of traditional type Halloween scare actors. I'm very, very excited for this one, especially the Pumpkin Lord. So we're standing directly underneath all of the pumpkins right now, and there are so many of them. And what's cool is like they're all individually carved pumpkins. No face is the same. And this is how Little Boo became very popular. And I said these are carved. They're not carved because they're not actual pumpkins, but you know what I mean. As you can see, as I'm scanning by, these all have different faces on them. They all look different. Even these guys up here, a bunch of different faces. There's some good ones over here. Like check out this guy. Look at his face. He looks a little scary. This one too. These are so neat. It's so cool that these are like individually quote unquote carved. So we're over here by Rip Ride Rocket now, which you can see going off in the background, and the stage. And this is where one of the house entrances is going to be. So this is going to be the second house that you encounter when you make your way into the park. The first one was over by Despicable Me, like where we showed you, off to the left. And then the second house is going to be somewhere right over here. So our next stop brings us over here to The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, The Race Through New York. And this is where another haunted house is going to be located. And based on the speculation map, the house that's going to be over here is the Halloween house. Now, if you're wondering what a speculation map is, it's a very, very good question. So there is a Twitter account called HHN Nightmares, and every year they put out multiple versions of a speculation map. They have ties to insiders, possibly people on the creative team. Nobody really knows how they get their information, but they put out multiple versions throughout the season, the summer season specifically, and it evolves over time. So the first one is kind of like a rough draft, and then there's at least 2 or 3 versions, and the final version was very, very accurate this year. They got basically all the houses correct. A couple of the names were a little bit off, but the general gist of it was very, very correct. So if you want to have somewhat of a heads up as to what you can expect for HHN for next year, follow HHN Nightmares and just follow along with the speculation maps because they get it right almost every single time. So if you continue past the Jimmy Fallon ride and you head right back towards this New York Public Library facade, this is going to be home to 2 houses. And the 2 houses that it's most likely going to be home to are the Fiesta de Chupacabras as well as Dead Man's Pier. Now in a little bit, once we go through all the construction updates, I am going to sit down and we are going to talk about the houses. So if you're wondering what is the Fiesta de Chupacabras, what is Dead Man's Pier, we're going to talk about it in a little bit. So if you continue past those 2 houses, you're going to make your way into New York and you're going to find the tribute store, which we'll talk about in just a second. But the scare zone that's over here is going to be Sweet Revenge. And the props for Sweet Revenge have been coming up literally every single day. There's been something new that's popped up. we saw this judge's booth transform from just a black box into what it is now, where it says the judge's booth with all these pumpkins and gourds and all different fall type of things over here. And then this van popped up a couple of days ago as well. It has the Major Sweets Candy Company logo on the side. That is so awesome. And take a look at the back of the van. I wonder, there's no lock on this, so I wonder if like someone's gonna pop out of the back, or if the back of this van's gonna be open when the Scarezone is in effect. But check out how cool the license plate is. It says Sweets. There's been some smaller changes that they've added here, like these hay bales and these pumpkins. And then I'm also just noticing these orange lights that are up in the trees were added over the last few days as well. This is really shaping up to be probably my most anticipated Scarezone, just because it really reminds me of Halloween and fall and being back from the Northeast, going pumpkin picking and apple picking and all that. I know this is gonna be scary, but it just gives me that like small town vibe. So just on the other side of the judge's booth where we just were, Major Sweets is out and about. There's a whole bunch of candy now. The last time we were here, this sign wasn't here. There was no decorations on any of this. It was just basically the structure of the cart and the little stand. But now there's a whole bunch of candies that are on here. Butter discs, gooey chews. You see some lollipops over there as well. Some candy corn in the back. Alex does not like candy corn at all, but I actually really, really love it. There's a whole bunch of more candies here too. This is so cool. Here's a closer look at the stand that has that Major Sweets Candy Company logo on it. I wonder if we're actually gonna see Major Sweet. I would imagine he's probably gonna be a character that's a part of the Scarezone, which would be pretty neat. But yeah, there's even more candies over here too. Check out these giant lollipops. This is so awesome. Again, I know this is gonna be scary, but this Scarezone just looks so cool to me. Also over here is something that we saw the last time, and that's this tractor that had an accident and plowed right into this tent over here. But something that wasn't here the last time was this tarp. Now, whenever they put tarps on top of props for HHN during the daytime, it means that there's some sort of a dead body or something gory underneath it. So this Scarezone has mutants in it, so this is probably gonna be like a little kid or a little boy or girl or man or woman, who knows, that drove into this. But I'm really curious what's under this tarp. We'll find out in just a couple of weeks. And right in the heart of that Scarezone is the Universal Tribute Store. Now, if you were here when they had the last Tribute Store, it was themed to classic movies like Jaws, E.T., Back to the Future, and it looks like they are sticking with the same theme for the HHN Tribute Store. And they kind of alluded to that with some of the Easter eggs that were by the exit of the previous one, but it looks like a Halloween small town movie theater. So in front, where they had one of the movie posters when they had the classic 80s themed movies, they have the sign that says closed, and then there's a whole bunch of these clippings that might have been in the exit, or maybe they're new ones. I don't remember exactly what the other one said, but it says, Mayor announces funding by local candy maker, new Halloween venture to begin construction this year. Mayor announces acquisition of old cursed movie theater, plans to retrofit the space for unique Halloween celebration. To our esteemed patrons, thank you. We're now able to go forward with the renovation project. Pretty neat. There's so many like cool Easter eggs that are on the outside of this that are alluding to what's coming next and what was here before.
Bluesmobile coming through.
So we're now standing directly across from the Mummy, which has yet to reopen, but over here in this area, they actually just redid all the pavement over here, and this opened up just a couple of days ago, but there are food booths out and about. You can see that they got the spooky theme on them. There's some decorations over there on the door. No menus out on these yet, but there's one over here, and then it looks like there's another two down this way. Here's a closer look at the next food booth over here. Pretty spooky. It's got the coffin over there on the door. Again, no menus out on these just yet, but there are team members working inside. I just saw a couple people inside. And this one over here has got some blood and guts all across the top. There's some handprints over there too, but check out this door. It says, warning, biohazard. infected specimen. If container is breached, contact local health authorities. It doesn't look like it's a biohazard. It looks like this guy was just a victim of Vecna. And speaking of Revenge of the Mummy, it is still not open yet. I really thought once we saw these umbrellas, we were gonna have an opening announcement any day, but the last couple of days, they've actually been testing the ride with Universal team members. So it's open and it's running, but it's just not open to day guests. It's only open to team members. Now, obviously, I have not been on the Mummy yet since it has reopened, since I'm not a team member, but we have heard that basically everything has stayed the same. So Brendan Fraser is still a part of the ride. Basically, the ride is the same, the story is the same. It's just that they made it a little bit smoother, enhanced some of the effects. That's what we're being told. So if you're waiting on the Mummy to reopen because you think it's going to be something really new and exciting, it's basically the same Mummy ride, just kind of like an enhanced version of what was there before. Coming across another set for HHN, and we saw this basically exactly as it was the last time we were here, but the only thing we didn't see was this tarp. Again, the tarp means that there's something gory and bloody underneath it. So very curious to see what's going to be underneath this. It's pretty small, so could be like a child, or who knows, like a small scarecrow or something like that. So right back this way in between Rosie's Irish Shop and Louie's Bar and Grill, there is this walkway over here, and this is going to be another entrance for a house. And based on the speculation map, the latest speculation map, this is going to be the entrance for the Horrors of Blumhouse, which is going to be freaky, as well as the Black Phone. And while we're passing Louie's, I just wanted to call out that inside of here, this is where the Scareactor dining experience is going to be taking place. It's $54.99 per person, and you get to dine with scare actors that come to your table, and you can take some photos with them too. So we're back over now in the Fisherman's Wharf section, which is right by the exit to the Fast and the Furious ride. And this was definitely not here the last time we were here. The trussing was here, and like the basics of the stage was here, but the actual stage and the props and everything was not. And this looks really cool. Now this is gonna be Conjure the Dark, which is gonna obviously feature a whole bunch of witches. You can see this cauldron over here. Then there's a whole bunch of like writing that's kind of etched in. And it might be a little hard to tell on camera, but it has like a blue, not a blue, a purple undertone to the writing. So I wonder if any of that's gonna light up, which would be pretty neat. But this is super impressive. Like, look at this door. And then there's an eye up there. Kind of feels like Doctor Strange is gonna come out of it, but obviously it's gonna be like scary witches. Here's a better look at it from across the way, so you can see the whole stage in its entirety. But there's definitely gonna be multiple scare actors on this stage, and there's gonna be a lot going on, because it's just such a big set piece. This is really, really awesome. As far as the Conjure the Dark Scarezone, that's really all there was that was new, was just that stage, which is really awesome, but I'm curious to see if they add anything else. But now we are directly across from King's Cross Station, and this is like an interesting alleyway over here. There's obviously going to be some sort of food going on, because this is clearly a spot where a menu would go, with all this moss, these gray stones. But as we come even further back this way, there's even more. And then you have some trussing with some lighting back this way as well. And then there's, as you can see, another 2 of those poles with the writing on it. So that's really, oh, wait a minute. I was gonna say, that's all that's back here, but there is a bar. It's kind of tucked away and hidden. Now, I don't know if this is a predominant bar at Halloween Horror Nights, but this is definitely gonna be a bar, because you can see the menu boards, and then obviously that's gonna have a whole bunch of liquor on it as well. But this has some symbols and some character writing on it too. And behind that bar, there was actually another bar, but there was a lot of team members working and setting it up over there, so I didn't want to go over there with the camera and bother them. But I spoke with one of them really quickly, and he said there's gonna be 2 bars. So one in the front and one in the back of this little walkway here. Something else that is new that we're seeing for the first time is this pumpkin food stand. And this thing is really, really big. Like, I am 6 feet tall, and I'm basically about as tall as half of the menu, and it still goes up pretty high. So this is pretty cool. I mean, this is like a giant pumpkin. Again, no menus on any of these food booths, but hopefully soon. And here's a shot of the front of it, where you'll actually place your order. Over here, you can see they have another pumpkin, just a smaller version of the one that I just showed you. But I like this one. It's like traditional Halloween. We are coming across another food booth here, and this one is very, very gory. As you guys can see, there's blood all over the place. There's handprints over here. Wonder whose hands those prints belong to. Check out the door. The door has blood all over it as well. Oh my gosh, this one's very, very gory. Let's check this window out over here. It looks like there's another set of handprints here too. Standing now directly across the entrance to Central Park, and there is another food booth over here, and look at this pumpkin. He looks like an evil boss pumpkin, but this one has a whole bunch of additional decor. These are like pumpkin scarecrows, and it makes sense because the Scarezone that is directly across from this is going to be a Scarecrow-based one. Right next to the Scarecrow food booth, there's another one. This one's just kind of like a plain castle-y looking food booth, and then directly across is this one right here, which has like stained glass windows and something on the inside. I can't really tell what this is. It looks like vials maybe of some sort. Not quite sure, but this is the look at the front of this one. Just past those food booths, you'll find the Universal Studios Kids Zone Pizza Company, and this is home to pizza fries, which is a Halloween Horror Nights staple. It's like the most popular thing that you can eat when you come to HHN, and you can get it right back here. Also, just a little pro tip for you. If you want to find a nice quiet place to get away, maybe eat your lunch during the regular park day, come back over here by the pizza company, because I know it's closed right now, but there is literally nobody back here except for me. It is very, very hot today. I mean, my shirt, it's probably a little hard to see on camera, but my shirt is absolutely soaked. It is so hot. And every time I come to the park, I bring my neck fan, and I'm always like, I don't really think I'm gonna need it, and I end up leaving it in the car, and I forgot the neck fan again, and I'm regretting it. But wanted to come back here and just take a few minutes and talk a little bit about the houses and the scare zones and the shows that have been announced just yesterday by Universal. So we were waiting for quite a long time for some announcements. We were sitting on 4 house announcements forever, or at least it seemed like forever, and now we finally have the full lineup. So let's look at the 10 houses first. First is the Weeknd After Hours Nightmare. You love his music, but can you survive his mind? The Weeknd is about to stalk your squad through this haunted house, a surreal living nightmare from his After Hours videos. His nightmare is now yours. Next is Halloween. Silent, merciless, relentless, there's nobody like Michael Myers, and if your Scream Squad is ready this year, you can gather together and face the terror of Halloween from the very beginning. Also, there's the Horrors of Blumhouse. Get ready for a blood-curdling new double feature of Blumhouse horror as your Scream Squad faces a ruthless serial killer in Freaky and an evil kidnapper in the relentlessly terrifying The Black Phone. Alex and I watched The Black Phone just a couple of weeks ago. It was a very good movie. I'm interested to see how they do the house though, because the whole movie really kind of takes place in one setting. So I'm interested to see what the house is actually going to be like. Universal Monsters Legends Collide. If you thought one Universal monster was scary, how about 3? Summon your Scream Squad, because you're about to get caught between the Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy together for the first time. I'm very excited that they're doing a house that is based on the Universal Classic Monsters, because like I said, this is the first time that we are coming to HHN, and I've always seen like cool photos and videos of things that had to do with the classic monsters, and I'm glad we'll get to experience it this year. Next up is Spirits of the Coven. A coven of beautiful flapper witches will lure you into their 1920s speakeasy, reveal their haggish true form, and turn your Scream Squad into a witch's brew. They'll be cackling, you'll be screaming. The next one is a house that I don't think Alex is gonna go in, so I probably will go in this one myself, or if we're here with friends, but that is Bugs Eaten Alive. While touring a 1950s home of the future, you'll be surrounded by the slime of bugs everywhere as hordes of many-legged terrors descend upon you and your Scream Squad. You'll be dropping like flies. Also coming this year is Fiesta de Chupacabras. Visit a Latin American village where the legend of the creature Chupacabras is celebrated with a colorful fiesta, and the streets are lined with the crimson blood of tourists like you and your amigos. Hellblock Horror. Enter a prison whose savage inmates are monstrous creatures. If they break free from their cells, it's a death sentence for everyone. Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake. In a New England fishing village, undead fishermen emerge from the waves to seek their revenge. You and your Scream Squad may have escaped their hooks in the Scarezones. Now they'll reel you in and drag you under. So this is a house that was based off of a previous HHN Scarezone, and I think that's pretty cool that they're actually calling that out. And the final house is Descendents of Destruction. Careful not to leave any of your Scream Squad behind as you descend the subway tunnels of a deserted New York. Lurking in the dark are hungry mutants looking to feast on the last remnants of humanity. And they also announced the 5 Scarezones. The first one being Horrors of Halloween. This is actually the first one that you're going to encounter if you walk straight back directly into the park as if you were going towards Jimmy Fallon. That's the one that has all the pumpkins hanging overhead, and it's going to be like a traditional Halloween, so that's going to be really cool. Also, they have Scarecrow, Cursed Soil, which we're actually going to take a look at right after this. It's right over here in Central Park. Sweet Revenge we saw earlier, that's where all the candy was, Major Sweets Candy Company. I think that one has the potential to be the best Scarezone. I'm basing that solely on the decor that's out. It looks awesome. Also, they're going to have Graveyard Deadly Unrest, which is that Nettlewood Cemetery that we showcased in the last video, the last update that we did. That's over by like the Born Stuntacular and the Passholder Lounge. And then the last one is Conjure the Dark, which we passed over by Fast and the Furious with that stage with the cauldron and all the witch activities that's going to be going on there. And this year at HHN, there's not going to be 1, but 2 shows. The first one being the Halloween Nightmare Fueled Wildfire, which is going to take place over on the big Fear Factor stage. And then the second one is going to be Ghoulish, a Halloween Tale, which takes place over on the Lagoon. So we are making our way into Central Park, and this is going to be home of Scarecrow, Cursed Soil. And there's not a whole lot that's out here just yet. There's a little bit of lighting and trussing over here as you first enter, as if you're coming from ET. But there is some cool like trussing and staging over there. And here's a look at the current progress on the Scarecrow Scarezone. Not a whole lot different versus a couple weeks ago. Looks like they added a little bit more trussing and maybe some more covers on some things. But I'm really interested to see what they do. Like, are they actually gonna hang anything from up here? It's pretty big. So we're actually standing underneath one of the little staging areas right now, and I see the speaker back here, which tells me there's definitely gonna be a Scareactor, or 2, or 3 maybe, hiding back here, because that speaker is actually connected to the trigger pedal, and when that pedal is stepped on, that's what triggers the scare. So that's when the sounds and the effects take place. When the Scareactor steps on that pedal, right there, there's gonna be stuff that comes out of that speaker. Spooky sounds. Hello, Beetlejuice. I have a question for you.
Came out of your sink.
What? Everyone's talking about Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
You were the star last year. Are you feeling a little left out this year, or?
Oh, they couldn't afford me.
Yeah?
Yeah, simple as that's just business, man. You gotta do the business and business. They cut the check, it cashes, we'll talk.
We are heading into what the next Scarezone is gonna be, and that is Graveyard Deadly Unrest. And there's some new props that are out. Like this gate over here that says Nettlewood Cemetery. The only other place that said Nettlewood Cemetery was on the pillars in the front on the other side of the Scarezone. But now they have this out and about, looking all creepy. Look at all the moss and like the spider webs that they added to it. It looks so good. This is gonna look fantastic at night. And on these, they did some more set dressing as well. You can see all the dead trees with the dead leaves on them. They added some statues with some more, dead thorns and leaves too. Some spider webs over here as well. And they added the cover for the boo hole. That wasn't there the last time, those drapes. And you can actually see the speaker in the background over there as well. I really love what they have done with this Scarezone so far. Check out this gargoyle that's over here too. That is so cool. I just love like all the moss and the weeds, and it really makes you feel like you're in an old cemetery. So that's going to do it for Universal updates as far as HHN goes. Now we're going to hop over to Islands of Adventure and check out some of the merchandise from All Hallows Eve Boutique. Made it into Islands of Adventure. let the adventure begin. So we made it over to All Hallows Eve Boutique, and this store has only Halloween things, and this is where you can find some of the Halloween Horror Nights merchandise. Come in, they have a women's shirt over here with a whole bunch of skulls, and this lady, it says Halloween Horror Nights Universal Studios on the bottom. And they also have these glasses that are really cool. It's Every Day is Halloween, Halloween Horror Nights 2022. These are $12, and they even made a Christmas ornament of Lil Boo this year. Check him out, he's all glittered up. Really, really cool. And then they have this Halloween Horror Nights like snapback hat with all the studio screamers on the lid, and that is the backside of the Lil Boo ornament, Halloween Horror Nights 2022. They also have this 4-pack button set with Lil Boo, the cat, a witch, and the skeleton, and this is $11. They have a headband as well with all those characters on it, and it looks like they have a few little pins over here. These are cute. These are like really tiny pins. $20 for this 6-pack of pins. Now this is a children's shirt, but this is an awesome design. I wish they would make this in adult sizes. Has the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights on it. There's Lil Boo front and center. You have the skeleton, the cat, some ghosts, and it says Every Day is October 31st. I love this. They need to make this in an adult size. In a similar type of design, they have this women's cropped hoodie with a Lil Boo on it as well. This is $40. They have some shot glasses over here as well with all the different designs on it. That's really cool. And then they also have another Christmas ornament. Every Day is Halloween, the 31st. And then the other side has the classic Halloween Horror Nights logo on it. Here's a look at the adult shirt. It says Every Day is Halloween. That's kind of the theme for this year's event, just classic traditional Halloween. I really, really like that shirt. And the shirt is $30. This is definitely made for people that do not live in Florida, but they have a flannel with the same design on the back. Here's a look at another shirt. You know I love these like campy button-ups. How cool is this? It has all the studio screamers on it. There's Michael Myers, Frankenstein. They even have Casper the Friendly Ghost. This is gonna run you $70. And there's another shirt, which I don't think I've seen yet. It says Scares at Every Turn, and then it has the Pumpkin Lord front and center. So I don't know if he's actually considered an icon or not. I'm not like too into the HHN lore, but he's front and center on this year's event shirt. And this one does say Halloween Horror Nights 2022. And there he is. They have that same design on a glass as well. And I just love these retro type glasses that Universal makes. We have a few of these at home. It's just so cool. This one's probably $12 too. Yep. And another t-shirt that they have is this Halloween Horror Nights kind of Day of the Dead style shirt over here as well. That's pretty neat. This is probably going to be $30 if I have to guess. Yep, $30. That is going to do it for our day out here at Universal Orlando to check up on the Halloween Horror Nights progress. I'm really happy we came out because there was a lot of things that we did not see the last time we were here. So many new things and a whole bunch of like tiny details, especially over in Sweet Revenge with all the candy, and then the Nettlewood Cemetery with all like the trees and the sticks and the spider webs that they added to it. It was really, really awesome to see. So we will be back out here probably one more time before Halloween Horror Nights. HHN starts in just about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks from today. So we'll be back at least once so we can see what the final prep looks like, as well as when the tribute store opens, because it's probably going to open in another week, maybe week and a half if I had to guess. It's going to be right before the start of HHN, and I'm very excited to check that out because they're sticking with the theme of the summer tribute store, and that was movies and movie theaters. So will we see the director in there? Will the usher be in there? Probably not, but you never know. It kind of fits the narrative. So if you enjoyed coming along with me today, make sure you give the video a nice big thumbs up. If you guys are new to our channel, make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on update videos just like this one, as well as the first time that Alex and I ever go to HHN, which is going to be this year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.